Did you know that over 62% of Indians have had to pay a bribe at some point in their lives? This isn't just a number, it's a reflection of the daily struggles faced by millions. Imagine the frustration, the helplessness, and the anger that comes with knowing that your hard-earned money is being siphoned off into the pockets of the corrupt. This staggering statistic paints a grim picture of the deep-rooted corruption plaguing our nation. Every day, ordinary citizens are forced to navigate a labyrinth of red tape and bureaucratic inefficiency, often greased by the underhanded exchange of money. The frustration is palpable, the anger justified. Corruption is not just a problem, it is a disease, silently eating away at the fabric of our society. Our infrastructure crumbles, our public spaces are neglected, and the very systems meant to support us are failing. The roads we drive on, the buildings we live in, and the public services we rely on are all compromised. It's time we acknowledge the elephant in the room. Corruption is holding India hostage, hindering its true potential. We are shackled by a system that rewards dishonesty and punishes integrity. The chains of corruption are heavy, and they are dragging us down. From government offices to businesses, from healthcare to education, the tentacles of corruption reach far and wide. In government offices, bribes are often the only way to get things done. In businesses, corruption stifles innovation and growth. In healthcare, it means the difference between life and death. In education, it robs our children of their future. It's a silent tax on every citizen, a burden we carry on our shoulders. This invisible weight affects our daily lives, our mental health, and our overall well-being. We are constantly stressed, constantly worried, and constantly looking over our shoulders. This isn't just about lost revenue. It's about shattered dreams, compromised futures, and a nation grappling with an insidious enemy within. The dreams of millions are broken, the futures of our children are compromised, and our nation is struggling to find its way. The cost of corruption is not just financial, it's deeply personal. It's the distress of a family unable to make ends meet, the personal struggles of individuals trying to navigate a corrupt system, and the emotional toll it takes on all of us. It's the farmer who has to bribe to get his rightful subsidies. This is a man who works tirelessly to feed the nation, yet he is forced to part with his meager earnings just to get what is rightfully his. It's the student denied admission because someone else paid their way in. This is a young mind, full of potential, whose dreams are crushed by the weight of corruption. It's the despair of seeing merit trampled under the weight of illicit gains. The brightest minds, the hardest workers, are often left behind because they refuse to play the corrupt game. We must rise against this menace for the sake of our present and the promise of a better tomorrow. The fight against corruption is not just a fight for justice, it's a fight for our future, for the kind of nation we want to leave for our children. Together, we can break the chains of corruption and build a brighter, more honest India. Imagine a young entrepreneur, brimming with ideas and the drive to succeed. He wakes up every morning with a vision, a dream to build something meaningful, something that not only brings him success, but also contributes positively to society. He envisions a thriving business, creating jobs and contributing to the nation's growth. His team shares his enthusiasm, and together they work tirelessly, celebrating small victories along the way, believing that their hard work will eventually pay off. But his dreams are met with a harsh reality, a system riddled with corruption. The initial excitement begins to wane as he encounters obstacles that have nothing to do with his business acumen or market conditions. Instead, they stem from a deeply entrenched culture of bribery and favoritism. He's forced to navigate a labyrinth of bribes and bureaucratic hurdles, his spirit slowly crushed under the weight of unfair demands. Each step forward seems to require a payoff, each approval a negotiation. The paperwork piles up, and the delays become endless, testing his patience and resolve. This is the insidious nature of corruption. It stifles innovation, crushes entrepreneurial spirit, and creates an uneven playing field. The young entrepreneur, once full of hope, now finds his creativity stifled, his energy drained. The environment that should nurture his ideas instead becomes a battleground where only the corrupt thrive. It turns honest citizens into reluctant participants and rewards those who exploit the system for personal gain. People who once believed in hard work and integrity are now forced to compromise their values just to survive. The corrupt officials, on the other hand, grow bolder, their pockets deeper, perpetuating a cycle of exploitation. This vicious cycle perpetuates a culture of fear and silence, where speaking out against injustice becomes a risk few are willing to take. The consequences are far-reaching. Employees live in constant fear of retribution, and the few who dare to protest often find themselves isolated, their careers jeopardized. Foreign investment dwindles as companies hesitate to invest in a climate of uncertainty and risk. Multinational companies, which could bring in much-needed capital and expertise, choose to stay away, fearing the unpredictable business environment. This reluctance to invest further stifles economic growth and innovation. Infrastructure projects are delayed or fail to meet quality standards, jeopardizing public safety and wasting precious resources. Roads remain unfinished, buildings are left incomplete, and the quality of public services deteriorates. The ripple effect of these delays is felt across the economy, slowing down progress and development. And as resources are siphoned away, the most vulnerable sections of society bear the brunt of the consequences, further widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Families in urban slums struggle to make ends meet, children are deprived of education, and healthcare becomes a luxury. The dream of a better future seems increasingly out of reach for those who need it the most. The year was 2010. India was gearing up to host the Commonwealth Games, a chance to showcase its burgeoning economy and sporting prowess on the global stage. The excitement was palpable, with the nation looking forward to a grand celebration of sports and unity. But what should have been a moment of national pride quickly descended into a shameful spectacle of corruption. The headlines soon shifted from the athletes' achievements to the murky dealings behind the scenes. The Commonwealth Games scam, with its inflated contracts and shoddy construction, exposed the ugly underbelly of corruption that permeated even the highest echelons of power. The public watched in dismay as the dream of a flawless event crumbled. Billions of rupees meant for the development of sporting infrastructure were siphoned off, leaving behind a trail of unfinished projects and shattered dreams. Athletes who had trained for years found themselves competing in subpar conditions, their hopes dashed by greed. This is just one example of the many high-profile corruption scandals that have rocked India. Each scandal, a new chapter in a seemingly endless saga of betrayal and loss, has left the public feeling increasingly disillusioned. From the 2G spectrum allocation scam, which saw the exchequer losing billions due to underpriced licenses, to the coal block allocations, where valuable resources were handed out without proper bidding, the scale of corruption was staggering. These instances of blatant disregard for public funds have shaken the nation's conscience and eroded public trust in institutions. The streets filled with protests, the air thick with the cries for justice and accountability. These are not just financial losses. They represent a betrayal of the public's faith, a stark reminder of how greed can eclipse national interest. The impact of these scandals goes beyond the immediate financial damage, seeping into the very fabric of society and undermining the foundations of democracy. Yet, amidst the despair, there remains a glimmer of hope. The resilience of the Indian people, their unwavering demand for transparency and justice, continues to drive the fight against corruption. Each scandal, while a blow to the nation's morale, also serves as a catalyst for change. Anti-corruption movements have gained momentum, with activists and ordinary citizens alike pushing for legislative reforms and greater accountability. The journey is long and fraught with challenges, but the collective will to root out corruption remains strong. As India continues to grapple with the ghosts of its past, the hope for a brighter, more transparent future endures. The stories of betrayal and loss are also stories of resilience and the unyielding spirit of a nation determined to rise above its challenges. Section 4. A system under siege. Sectors ravaged by corruption. Corruption is like a virus, infecting every sector of Indian society. It's the reason why basic amenities like healthcare and education remain inaccessible to millions. Hospitals meant to serve the poor become dens of profiteering, denying life-saving treatments to those who can't afford bribes. Schools built with public funds crumble from neglect, while teachers are forced to pay for their postings, perpetuating a cycle of mediocrity. The justice system, meant to be a beacon of hope for the oppressed, often becomes another tool for the corrupt to manipulate. Cases drag on for years. Justice delayed is justice denied, and witnesses are intimidated into silence. This erosion of trust in the very institutions meant to protect us has a chilling effect on society, breeding cynicism and apathy. Section 5. The soul of a nation, eroding trust and hope. The true cost of corruption extends far beyond financial losses. It erodes the very soul of a nation, chipping away at the values of honesty, integrity, and fairness. When citizens lose faith in the system, they become disillusioned and cynical. The sense of collective responsibility wanes, replaced by a me-first attitude, further fueling the cycle of corruption. The psychological impact of living in a corruption-ridden society is profound. It breeds a culture of fear where people are afraid to speak out against injustice, fearing retribution. It creates a sense of hopelessness, particularly among the youth, who see their dreams stifled by a system that rewards dishonesty. This erosion of moral compass has far-reaching consequences, hindering social progress and national development.